Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mastering English with Podcasts. I'm Razel, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Ricky. Before we move on to the next segment, let's do a quick recap of what we just talked about in the last segment, how to think in English. We discussed various techniques like immersing yourself in the language, translating less and letting the words flow naturally in English, using English in daily thoughts, and even talking to yourself in English. We also gave examples of how this can speed up your learning and make you more confident in speaking. Remember, thinking in English is a skill that develops over time, so don't be too hard on yourself.
Absolutely. It's all about practice and consistency. Now, we're excited to move on to our audience Q&A segment, where we'll be answering some great questions you all have sent in about how to think in English. Let's get started with the first question.
Our first question comes from Sarah, who's joining us from London. Hi, Sarah. What's your question?
Hi, Razel and Ricky. My question is, I often start thinking in English, but then switch back to my native language without realizing it. How can I stop doing that?
Great question, Sarah. It's normal to switch back to your native language, especially when you're just starting. One trick is to use mental checkpoints. Every time you realize you've switched back, stop and ask yourself, how would I say this in English? Also, give yourself a little reminder like, oops, let's get back to English. The more you do this, the more you'll train your brain to stay in English. You can even set small goals like, I'll think in English for 5 minutes straight, and gradually increase the time.
Exactly. And make it fun. For example, when you're cooking or walking, describe what you're doing in English. That way, your brain stays engaged. Hope that helps. Moving on to the next question.
Our second question is from Michael in Toronto. Hey, Michael, what's on your mind?
Hi guys, my question is, how can I improve my vocabulary when thinking in English? I get stuck on words I don't know.
Awesome question, Michael. A great way to improve your vocabulary while thinking in English is to build what we call a substitute vocabulary. If you get stuck on a word, try to describe it using simpler words you already know. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you could say, the thing that keeps food cold. This keeps your flow in English without breaking the thought process.
Exactly. And also, write down or look up the word after the situation passes. Gradually, you'll find yourself thinking of the right word faster. Also, read and listen to more English content to expose yourself to new words. Great question, Michael. Let's move on to the next one.
Next up, we have Priya from India. Hi, Priya. What's your question?
Hi, Razel and Ricky. Sometimes I feel nervous when thinking in English because I'm scared of making mistakes. How can I overcome that?
Priya, you're not alone in this. Making mistakes is part of learning. One way to overcome this is by reminding yourself that it's okay to make mistakes. When you think in English, no one else hears it except you, so it's your safe space to practice. And every mistake is a chance to learn.
Exactly. You can even challenge yourself by thinking, how many mistakes did I make today? Because the more mistakes, the more you're learning. Also, remember, fluency comes from practice, not perfection. So, keep going, and you'll improve with time. All right, next question.
Our fourth question is from Ahmed in Dubai. Hi, Ahmed. What's your question?
Hi. Is there a way to think faster in English, especially when I need to speak quickly?
Great question, Ahmed. Thinking faster in English comes with practice. One technique is to use simple sentences at first and gradually increase complexity. Start with short, clear thoughts like, I need to go to the store, or I'm feeling hungry. As you get more comfortable, your thoughts will start to speed up.
Yes, and also expose yourself to English in fast-paced situations. Watch TV shows or listen to podcasts at regular or slightly faster speeds. This helps train your brain to process English more quickly. Don't worry about being fast at first. Focus on clarity, and speed will come with time. Let's move to the next question.
We've got Maria from Spain next. Hi, Maria. What's your question?
Hi, I often mix English with my native language when thinking. How can I avoid that?
Hey, Maria. Mixing languages is super common when you're learning. One thing that helps is setting specific English-only times during the day. For example, dedicate 10 minutes where you only allow yourself to think in English. Over time, your brain will adjust and reduce the mixing.
Yes, and you can also surround yourself with English material during those times. Read something simple or listen to English music or podcasts. The more exposure you have, the easier it becomes to separate the two languages. Great question. Let's go to the next one.
Our next question comes from Jake in New York. Hi, Jake. What's your question?
Hi, what if I don't know how to express certain emotions in English? How can I think in English about feelings?
That's an interesting question, Jake. Expressing emotions in English can feel tricky at first, but start by learning the basic vocabulary for feelings, like happy, sad, excited, frustrated. You can then practice thinking about what made you feel that way. For example, I'm happy because I had a good day, or I'm frustrated because I can't find my keys.
Yes, and if you don't know a specific word, describe how it makes you feel physically or mentally. Like, I feel warm inside if you're happy, or I feel heavy if you're sad. Over time, you'll learn the exact words, but this is a good way to keep thinking in English without getting stuck. Moving on to our final question.
Last but not least, we have Ken from Japan. Hi, Ken. What's your question?
Hi. I struggle to think in English when I'm tired or stressed. Do you have any tips?
Great question, Ken. When you're tired or stressed, your brain naturally wants to revert to its comfort zone, which is usually your native language. One way to help is to start with very simple English. Think in short, clear thoughts. If you're too tired to think in full sentences, that's okay. Just go with whatever feels manageable.
Yes, and you can also try practicing thinking in English during times when you feel more energetic. Gradually, your brain will adapt, and it'll become easier even when you're tired. Also, take breaks when needed. Learning is a marathon, not a sprint. All right, that was our last question. We've had some fantastic questions today, and we hope our answers were helpful. Remember, thinking in English takes time and practice, but the more you do it, the easier it will become.
Absolutely. Keep practicing. Stay patient with yourself. And remember, mistakes are part of the journey. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem.
We'll be back with more topics to help you on your English learning journey. So keep sending in your questions. Thanks to everyone who participated today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Until then, keep thinking in English, and we'll see you soon.